I've lived in Soho because I like the idea of being able to walk to work and to be, you know, to keep it all of one uniform nature. It's just what I like. I know other people like to separate their work and their private life. And inevitably, you draw on your own personal experiences to do this. I know that what I've noticed is that I've become much more interested in food over time. It's just a you know, it's a cumulative thing, and I think it's fair to say that most people sort of, if you're interested in it at all in food, you sort of, you know, it's something you accumulate over time. It's just a notice that.
And which hotel kind of reflects, which one comes closest to your, you know, life experience as you're thinking about it now?
You know, I don't think one does. I think each of them has their own story and their own character. I think that's what makes them resonate with different people.
I mean, there is a really youth kind of, you know, angle to them with the party spaces on the top.
Well, the standards were originally conceived of as something for the young traveling business person, and I thought originally that, you know, affordability was something that was more important for young people. That the culture, the way you enjoy your business life, is different for young people than old. So yes, the standard was conceived of as a young person's hotel, but what happened is that it turned out that young is not really related to age. One of our longest standing customers at the Hollywood Standard is an 80-year-old actor who comes because it makes him feel, you know, he feels that there's something in his spirit that's triggered when he's in that hotel. So I don't, you know, I've found, and if you look at who's walking in and out the doors here downstairs, I wouldn't call it young necessarily. I'd say they all have a young spirit and an intellectual curiosity, but I don't think it's related to years.
So we don't think, as you get older, we're not going to be finding rockers out there. Because you're going to be forever.
Oh, I thought you meant a rock musician.
Right,
So,
yeah, of course.
I saw someone with a guitar walking in the front the other day.
Okay. What do you think? You know, you're interested in the
But we do
Hiltons.
have rockers at the Miami Standard, by the way.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah,
yes.
rows
Okay.
of them.
Yeah, and that's a Morris Lapidus. That was originally a Morris
It was,
Lapidus
the
hotel.
facade was, yeah.
Yeah. Did you keep the sign?
Yes.
You did. That's great. Yeah. So I think I flashed through almost all my cards, and so maybe there are questions from the audience that people might have. Yeah.
Had you considered making this building LEED certified, leadership in energy and environmental design?
Yes, and we're looking at a little bit. It's difficult. We had done a lot of research with the Jean Nouvel building, which is at 40 Mercer Street, and we spent $1.5 million in exploring what we could do with that. That was one of those, it is a condominium, a luxury condominium. We thought we could do that, and we ultimately decided back then, I mean, that was, you know, it was 6-7 years ago, that it just wasn't, it wasn't economically feasible to really push it that way. We are now, both the hotels in Miami have been converted sort of to a green hotels by the standard of the state of Florida. We're now working on an island in the Bahamas that's really supposed to be an entirely environmentally sort of carbon neutral island, where every residence and hotel room sort of has its own self-sufficient environmental you know, basis, footprint. But we didn't really explore it with this just because of the cost.
Other questions?
Yes, I do. How are you able to remain so optimistic and so aggressive with your business during these tough economic times?
But there's no choice.
Sink or swim?
Do I get a follow-up?
Well, I don't really know what you mean. I mean, you know, one can only do what one does and just try to do it better.
I guess what I meant was, how is the reception affecting your business?
Well, everywhere. So the travel business is down. All of our business is down 15% across the board. You know, we're fortunate enough that we're very, in hotel terms, we're tiny, tiny. All the hotels are, you know, the smallest of their breed in each city, if you will. I mean, the Mercer, when we built it, it has 75 rooms, and there had not been a new hotel put in New York, but with that few keys since 1929, when the Lowell was built. So one is, this is big, and it's 330 rooms, but by New York standards, it's not that big. And so we're small, we're particular, we appeal to certain people, and the people who find us attractive are loyal. So we've been, you know, knock on wood, relatively, we've been doing better than everybody else. But I think that's a function of of scale and specificity.
Also, you were too far along to turn back.
Well, with the case of development, we're in two businesses. One is the development business, which we design and build buildings that we intend to operate. And then there's the operating business. This project obviously was financed and well underway way before this recession. I don't think a building like this will be built again in the next decade, at least. It's too ambitious, it's daring, and the financing is just, even for the much more prosaic projects, they don't exist. So I think development is going to come to a standstill in New York for many years. And the operating side of the business, I think, you know, it seems like it's, some of the tanking is slowing down.
Talk about your relationship to the High Line, to the Hudson River Park, to the environment that you're in.
Well, I joined the Friends of the High Line maybe 6 months after they started, just because I was interested, and I thought it was a wonderfully quirky, crazy idea. And I'm amazed and impressed and so proud of what they've been able to create over time. When we started this hotel, started designing it, you know, one of the interesting challenges, practically speaking, was that we had to deal with the High Line, and yet there was nobody there to deal with. We would try to call CSX, which is the railroad that controlled it, until we were well underway. And there's, you know, they didn't care about this, you know, 5-mile stretch of track. They had, you know, hundreds of thousands of miles of track around the country. So, you know, engaging with the High Line was very interesting. We would deal with the Friends of the High Line, but they had no control over it. We'd deal with the mayor's office, but they had no control over it. And yet, you know, Todd had to draw up plans for where the foundation was going to go. And so we had this very interesting process of sort of negotiating with a city that didn't yet have any legal control. So our relationship, depending on how you ask the question, but if you take it on a practical level of what's our physical relationship with it, it was very unique from the beginning. I think one of the reasons we were able to, I know one of the reasons we were able to build over the High Line was that the city was not yet a park and it was not yet city property.
And that's not going to happen again.
That won't happen again, and you know, our guidelines were build it no lower than you would build a bridge over a railroad track in Minnesota, i.e. 30 feet above the bed of the track. So that's our relationship on one level was the relationship of what CSX dictated in any way, if you're asking on an architectural level.
Any other questions? Oh, okay.
What's the hand directly to the west?
I'm not sure. This is part of the land that's owned by the state. It was acquired in the process when they were building the West Side Highway. You know, they were going to sink it underground, and they acquired, you know, parcels of land up and down the west side, and they own this parking lot out here.
It looks like that's it. So, André, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.